Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to talk to you about my diagnosis with pancreatic cancer. It is Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in November. So I want to share my story and give some indications, things to look out for maybe. My story started back in March of this year. I remember vividly, March Madness was playing and I was meeting some friends to catch a few games at the pub. And I woke up and I remember walking down to the pub, hadn't really eaten anything yet, but I had this feeling of kind of tightness or fullness in my stomach, upper stomach around the band here. And it just felt kind of tight and full, and went to watch the games, had a couple of beers and some wings or something. I remember after the first game feeling uneasy and ready to go home. So I left after the first game, went back, and I was ready for a nap when I got back home, which is unusual for me. But that was day one. And from that day, that feeling of fullness and early satiation became more frequent. I would eat something in the morning and would stay full for the day. And then if I ate something later in the afternoon, it would almost like layer on top, and like my digestion just wasn't happening. I was a little constipated. Constipation started kicking in. Insomnia started kicking in. So these layers of fullness, constipation, insomnia, stomach unease. I would get up progressively as time went on in the middle of the night, feeling tight and full, and just not sharp pain, but kind of discomfort in a tight band, especially at the top, a tight band, not all the way to the back, but just certainly like a rock hard. In this area got really tight. And that progressed over weeks and months to the point where sometimes I would literally wake up and take 3 hot baths in the middle of the night just so I could sleep, because it would just keep waking me up, this tightness and uneasiness and fullness in my stomach. And I would get bloated, like literally my stomach would get distended. So I said, something's wrong. So I thought it was, something gut problems. So I started taking probiotics, started self-treating, taking some psyllium, trying to move things along. And that seemed to work a little bit. And as a matter of fact, for a little while, it seemed to self-regulate. And I was like, okay, it seems better. But then it slowly came back. So digestive problems were the first indication for me. Just something was not right. And I thought for sure it was just something digestive. So that continued to the point, then it came back. I talked to my doctor. He said, there's lots of stomach stuff going around, I said, yeah, maybe I just have this sticky flu or COVID thing that's stomachy, that's not going away. So I didn't take it too seriously, self-diagnosed and self-medicated that it was a stomach issue, and started taking all the things you would over the counter to kind of move things along and improve your gut health and all of that, and ginger and, red wine vinegar and all of those probiotics and all of that. Well, eventually I got to the point where I would eat something in the morning, and my appetite wasn't great, but I would eat something in the morning. I'd get full super early, super satiated, super early for a very little bit. That fullness would not go away. And eventually, if I had something in the afternoon, I would literally, it was almost like there was no room for it to go down. So I would get super full to the point of nausea sometimes. And towards later in right before my diagnosis, that fullness would get to the point where I would literally throw up if I ate something else on top. And that would be the only thing that would make me feel better, that would quell my stomach issues, was either throwing up from having something else or curling up until I could sleep a little bit. And that would give some relief. But the feeling of fullness, distension, bloating, constipation, and then that insomnia from the stomach upset were all indicative that there was something wrong. And then later on, I started getting fatigued, and just that feeling of nausea and stomach upset to the point of being prohibitively affecting my life got to the point where I needed to do something. So I called my doctor and I said, hey, should I see a GI doc, or what should I see? And eventually he said, yeah, go check it out. So I went to the gastro doc, and they said I should go to, apparently I was a little yellow, skin yellowing, eyes yellowing, some jaundice looking features. So I went in and they sent me to the hospital to have some scan done, and that was it. On August 4th, I had a scan, and they saw there was some sort of mass pushing against my small intestine that was preventing food from getting through and digesting. So that's why I was getting satiated, and that feeling of fullness wasn't going down because things weren't going through. So so they saw that mass and they did some more scans and some more tests, and sure enough, it was a tumor in the head of my pancreas that was pushing against my duodenum, my small intestine, and closing it up. So that was how I found out. But the main indicators were early satiation, feeling of fullness, insomnia, stomach extension, tightness all along the top band, fatigue, nausea, stomach pain, feeling of just yuckiness, and only relieved through vomiting. I did notice my urine also had become very dark, and my stools throughout this whole time from March were light colored, frequent, lots of stools, lots of bowel movements, but very loose, greasy, light colored, and regular. Also lots of gas, lots of long-winded gas throughout the day at the early stages, probably just trying to escape whatever wasn't being passed digestively in my system. So that was another thing. So so basically my diagnosis was brought to my attention mostly through digestive issues that were progressively worse over time, to the point of I couldn't hold things down. My stool towards the end got very dark, and my vomit, when I vomited at that point, when I wasn't able to keep food down, my vomit was black, almost, which is a sign of maybe there's blood. It was black and green. There's bile as well, bile vomit, and like bright green and black vomit. So there were just weird things that I hadn't noticed before growing, through life. So I knew there was something different that was going on. So take stomach health seriously, especially this tight band here and distension and feeling of satiation that does not go away. Could be a sign that there's something else going on. So early detection is huge. I feel so grateful and fortunate that I went in as early as I did. The doctor said it may have been there, the tumor may have been there for a year. But it obviously had grown over time. But I'm one that generally avoids doctors, doesn't go in. I'm glad I did. I was able to get in when I did, and they were able to pretty much set up a Whipple procedure to remove the head of my pancreas and my gallbladder and my part of my bile duct and my small intestine, duodenum, and part of my stomach to redefine my digestive system and get that nasty tumor out of there. And then I began chemotherapy just this month, a couple months after my Whipple procedure. So I am in a grateful position of having had the tumor removed by surgery, which is huge because a lot of people aren't eligible for that. So I feel eternally grateful that I was able to get the tumor removed, and now starting chemo to mop up all those rogue cancer cells that may be floating around in my system still. Early detection, pay attention to your body, listen to yourself, sense it. If you feel something's off, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it's worth checking out. It's Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. All pancreatic cancer survivors, hang in there, day by day, moment by moment. We got this. And if you notice friends or family that are having issues, encourage them to go to the doctor and get things checked out. It only takes a little while, and it can save their lives. So stay strong, be aware of your body and what you're feeling, and pay attention to those around you to see if you notice any changes in loved ones, and let them know that if there's something going on. that's my story. If I remember other things, I will share them later. But that's pretty much how it manifested for me. Other people have different stories. And day by day, we got this. So get checked if you're not feeling good. Doctors are cool, and they're there to check things out if you don't know what's going on. So don't hesitate. Be a friend to yourself and an ally, and stay on top of things. The earlier you detect pancreatic cancer, the better options you have for getting it treated. Stay cool. Appreciate all your support and your love and your prayers. I will keep you posted and updated. I'm feeling much better today, by the way. No chemo side effects, slight chemo side effects today, but feeling after yesterday, so good. So yay. So Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in November. Fight on, pancreatic cancer warriors. We got this day by day. Never, ever give up. Peace.